Mark, thank you very much indeed. Not for Netherlands, the last game jeopardy of so many of their counterparts. The Dutch have done their bit. Victories over Ukraine and Austria sealing the section with a game to spare. And with it, the guarantee that they'll face a team that have come third in their group in the round of 16 and then a runner-up in the quarterfinals. One step at a time, of course. But to know they won't face a team that's won their group before the semi-finals is ramping up the levels of expectation. And those weren't high just a fortnight ago, as cynicism was compounded by a defeat to Turkey and 40 minutes of labour in Gibraltar in March's World Cup qualifiers. And if the answer to that was to change the formation to the most un-Dutch 5-3-2, well, there were a few that didn't like the look of that either. But it's amazing what 2 wins can do. The chance to make wholesale changes has been passed up in favour of maintaining form and building continuity. And this is the side charged with finding a 4th straight win. Stekelenburg in goal. De Vrij, De Ligt and Blind. De Vries, Gravenberch, Frenkie de Jong and Van Aanholt. And then Wijnaldum in support of Malen and Depay. Like the Dutch, North Macedonia come into the match knowing precisely how their group stage will end up. Their 4th place finish was widely expected. Their victory reaching the tournament itself after benefiting from the playoff structure through the Nations League. But they have, remember, beaten Germany since the turn of the year. They have a bit about them going forward, and it's going forward from this point that is now important. Qualification for the World Cup, the be-all and end-all from here. Something they'll have to achieve without the retiring Gordon Pandev, whose international swan song is about to start. And there was a nice moment just a couple of minutes ago when the referee administered the toss of the coin. Gini Wijnaldum presented Gordon Pandev with a souvenir Dutch shirt. Pandev, number 122, to signal his 122nd and final cap. Macedonia, North Macedonia, line up with Dimitrievski in goal. Ristovski, Velkovski, Musliu and Alioski, Ademi and Bardi, Tchaikovsky, Elmas and Tchaikovsky, and Pandev leads the line. Referee tonight is Istvan Kovac from Romania, and Marco Di Beo from Italy is the VAR. Underway then in the final game in this group. No jeopardy on this one. The jeopardy is in the other game in the group, and we'll keep you fully abreast of what is happening between Ukraine and Austria. Austria have to win that game to finish second. A draw would see them third. The losers of that match may well be one of the 2 third-place teams that don't find their way through to the knockout stages. I think their record probably would be one of the 2 worst, but we'll keep you updated with that, and if you want to listen to it, it's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. But the Dutch in their change colours of all black with the orange detail in possession with Daley Blind, who works it forward into the midfield for the tall, elegant playmaker Ryan Gravenberch. Back from him to Stefan de Vrij, and de Vrij's left-hand man is Danny Blind. Mine, I'm delighted to say, is Stuart Pearce. Very good evening to you.
Evening, Jim. Really looking forward to this one, seeing how the Dutch are going to put a marker down, and I thought it was a really classy act before the game, presenting Pandev with a Dutch shirt. Fantastic, and the emotion on Pandev's face when the national anthems were played was quite incredible, and that's just a classy act, I think, really.
Classy act that also says don't kick us too hard. We're still in this tournament. Don't give us any bruises. Here's Ryan Gravenberch trying to make his way forward for the Dutch, and it'll be brought away. But great to see a souvenir, one of many that he will receive, I'm sure, but one that he will cherish. Gravenberch trying his luck with the knockable shot from about 20 yards out. Then he cut spin on it, and it's sailed over the top right-hand corner and out of play for a goal kick. 90 seconds in, and it's 0-0 between the Dutch and North Macedonia in Amsterdam. Stuart Pearce alongside me, watching on from our studio monitors in London. And a reminder, Ukraine against Austria live here right now over on Talksport 2.
Yeah, really loose giveaway there from Ademi, and it went to Gravenberch, and decent effort by him. The ball was moving all over the place, just didn't come down quick enough for his good, but a good opportunity all the same.
Ryan Gravenberch, far from a prolific player with Ajax. He's scored 9 senior goals in his career, unsurprisingly yet to score one for his country. The Dutch play forward again. It's easily mopped up and then knocked away by Ristovski. And North Macedonia playing with a back 4. They switched from the three centre-halves to a back four for the second half of the game against Ukraine, and gave a much improved performance in that second period, and have kept that same shape today. De Vrij coming across, gets out ahead of Bardi, puts the ball out of play for a throw that North Macedonia in their all-white kit will take. All thrown into the feet of Elmas, who is the heir to the throne, apparent, really, as far as North Macedonia are concerned. The absence of Pandev, Elmas is the one that they think could end up winning a stack of caps for his country. Just 21 years of age, very versatile in the heart of the midfield. Macedonians working the ball inside the penalty area, but the Netherlands able to get it away on a day that has been in such stark contrast to many that we've seen in the tournament. From a meteorological perspective, it's been a cold and unseasonable day throughout the course of Monday over in Amsterdam, with temperatures only in the mid-teens, a little bit of rain in the air. Ball thrown down the left-hand touchline for Pandev, trying to find a way past Stefan de Vrij, couldn't do that. It's just taken a little nick on its way out off Denzel Dumfries, and it's another throw taken quickly into the feet of Pandev, and then played down the left-hand touchline and straight out of play for another throw, this time a throw that the Dutch will take level with the edge of their own penalty area. Still 0-0 in both games tonight as these concluding matches in Group C. And the final games in Group B are coming your way later. Finland, Belgium, and Russia, Denmark. And that is a game that is beautifully poised. I think Belgium have already made it through, but all of the others still have a chance of finishing second. That one will unfold for you live on the Talksport network from 8 o'clock tonight, with the build-up starting for the respective matches after the conclusion of this game. Elmas has the ball in the midfield, just on the left-hand side for North Macedonia. It's played forward into the feet of Pandev. Back out for Elmas with a shock of dark hair. Sticks his foot underneath it and works it wide for the right-back Ristovski, who controls it with his first touch. Lays it back for Velkovsky with his second. Give it away, though. Wijnaldum seizing upon it. Dutch try and turn the ball neatly around the corner with Depay, looking for the run in behind of Donja Malen. Couldn't find him. Now Alioski should be able to bring it away. As he ventures up the left-hand touchline, takes a touch off the nearest Dutch player, Dumfries, but goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken by North Macedonia inside their own half. We're 5 minutes in, and it's still 0-0.
I don't think there's any suggestion that Macedonia are going to sit behind the ball. They're happy to go and play. They realise what situation they're in the group, and I think just to go out and enjoy the game and play with freedom, and I think that led to a very open game, Jim.
Certainly the Dutch have had the majority of possession up to this point. North Macedonia have scored in both of their games so far. Plenty of teams in the tournament haven't managed to do that. It's Tchaikovsky. Lays the ball square to his left-hand side for Ademi. Worked forward into the feet of Bardi. He couldn't hold it up. Musliu, centre-half, just trots back and picks up the ball and then feeds it in towards Elmas. Elmas to Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky's touch a little bit heavy as he tried to get away from Daley Blind. Now Patrick van Aanholt just calmly lays the ball back for his goalkeeper, the veteran Martin Stekelenburg. Actually played in the last match between these two, between the Dutch and Macedonia, as they then were back in 2009. Goran Pandev in opposition against him that day as well. The Dutch winning by 4-0. Their count got a couple. North Macedonia have never beaten the Dutch. Perhaps unsurprisingly, they've never led against them either, and yet to lead in a major tournament either. Here's Daley Blind, tiptoeing his way almost literally over the halfway line into Macedonian territory. Elmas putting a little bit of pressure on him. It's worked back towards Stefan de Vrij. Now Frenkie de Jong. Frenkie de Jong trying to work the ball forward, but Musli was there to block. Now an opportunity in the midfield for Ademi just to get his foot on the ball and drive forward. He's got Tchaikovsky making a good run to his right. Laid it off instead for the right back Ristovski. His ball in. Pandev going up for it off Daley Blind and just loops high up in the air towards the edge of the penalty area. Pandev picking it up again. Here's Ademi making his way now towards the edge of the box. Ristovski outside him. Slightly back behind square for Tchaikovsky, playing off the right-hand side, and then Tchaikovsky coming in from the left into a central position has just caught Frenkie de Jong on the upper thigh. The Dutchman's okay, but it will be a free kick which will be taken by the Netherlands just outside their own penalty area. 7 gone on Talksport, it's 0-0.
Yeah, you just mentioned Blind there, and we were just a little bit surprised, the pair of us, that he's actually playing. I think he was substituted in both games, wasn't he? More to probably rest him more than sort of form-wise. Which is quite surprising that he is out there.
Just given away by Tchaikovsky. Wijnaldum seizing upon it. He's Donja Marlon just trying to knock it back square in for Wijnaldum's run. It's deflected away and goes out of play for a goal kick, but the flag was up anyway and it wouldn't have counted. But ball just loosely given away by Tchaikovsky. Wijnaldum slipping it through. It was a very close run thing against Marlon, but I think the decision was correct. And he didn't make the most of the opportunity anyway.
Yeah, he just strayed offside then. It was, almost kamikaze defending. Once again, turnover of possession just inside Macedonia's half. And from there, with a poor pass, from there, the counter-attack's on. And if a goal's going to come Holland's way, that will probably be how it comes. Loose pass, turnover of possession, all of a sudden, it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2.
Just going back to that team selection, Stuart, it's something that we touched upon early in the build-up. But Daley Blint's the one player you thought may well have been given the night off, and Mafanake coming to replace him. Here's an opportunity at the other end. Tchaikovsky! Oh, he scored! North Macedonia lead by a goal to nil, only for the flag to come up. And the celebrations were short-lived. Well, he snuck in behind the back line. It looked as though he may well have been level. Has Daley Blint been able to get him offside? Well, he's pushed forward. It did look as though potentially De Vrij tried to hold the line, might just have played him on. The ball put in the net. Tchaikovsky with an emotional outburst of delight, and it was followed within a second and a half by an agonising expression of pain as he realised that he just made his run too early.
Yeah, marginal it was. De Ligt has gone in with his man. De Vrij's gone in with his man. De Ligt is the latter, the deeper one. He was the one nearly playing onside, but just got the timing of the run slightly wrong. And the Dutch will have to be careful, really. They won't want to go into the next game having suffered even a point or a loss in this game. And if you're not at it at international football or at any level of football, if you're not at it 5% and you think you can go through the motions, you'll be sadly mistaken.
Blind, Gravenberg, Frankie de Jong lets it run. It's Depay, and he tried to knock it square for Wijnaldum. And Alioski's come a long way in from left back to cover in a central position on the edge of the 6-yard box. But the Dutch, when they can turn the Macedonian backline, look as though they're going to score at will.
I've got absolutely no idea why a striker like Depay, bursting into the box, probably about 10 metres out on the diagonal, does not shoot there. They're looking to roll their teammate in, which is admirable. I think you've got to shoot.
10 minutes gone in both games. This one actually about 20 seconds ahead of the one that is taking place between Ukraine and Austria. And both are still 0-0. So as things stand, the Dutch have won the group. We know that for certain anyway. It would be Ukraine in second and Austria in third. Plenty of conspiracy theories doing the rounds that Ukraine against Austria, a 0-0 result would actually be a pretty good result for both of them, and consequently that might well be what happens, because it would mean that Ukraine would finish second in the group, although they'd get Italy at Wembley, and Austria would almost certainly, with 4 points and a goal difference of 0, make it through as well. We'll keep an eye on what's going on in that game. It's live for you on Talksport 2 with Matt Holland alongside Nigel Pearson. Dutch working forward here for Memphis Depay. Depay across the face of the 6-yard box. No one could get there in time, and the defenders made sure that they got out of the way. And it's going to be a throw which will be taken by the Macedonians. We've just seen a replay of the goal that was rightly disallowed. Tchaikovsky was offside, but he was offside by 3 inches maybe. It was the length of a toe, no more than that.
Yeah, I think if his boots were an 8 instead of an 11, he'd have been onside, Jim, it's fair to say.
It was a very close run thing. Here's Pandev battling on the right-hand touchline. Couldn't work it forward. Blind, and then De Ligt able to mop up. Play back for Stekelenburg, whose career has had a bit of a renaissance over the course of this season. Moved back to Amsterdam to play for Ajax again. Won the double. Much more first-team football over the course of this season than he had in the previous 3 years. And here's Blind. His Ajax teammate. Played forward towards Memphis Depay. Depay will be playing his football for Barcelona next year, having excelled with Lyon. Back for Blind again. Blind to Van Aanholt. Van Aanholt playing it through. She's taking a little nick on its way, and Alioski will be able to clear inside the penalty area via a clever little touch into Denzel Dumfries, which just allowed Alioski to turn and bring it forward. But they can't get too far. It's won back easily over on the Dutch right-hand side by De Vrij. And then De Jong back for Blind. Now to Depay. Gravenberch just ahead of him. Van Aanholt plays it to Gravenberch, who then will find Donjan Malen, the former Arsenal trainee. Square through the midfield for Memphis Depay. Depay in towards the captain Wijnaldum. As Depay plays it forward, Velkovsky was there to knock it away easily enough for the Macedonians. 0-0 the score with 13 minutes play on Talksport. North Macedonia, the lowest ranked team in the tournament, 62nd in the FIFA World Rankings. And on the back foot again here, Frenkie de Jong on the right hand side of the box, but can't play it back effectively. Marlon will actually make something of nothing there. It looks as though it's going to be easy for Bardi to bring it away. But Marlon covered a lot of ground and then did well. Good ball retention. Able to play it back for De Vrij, and the Dutch will be able to build again. Blind playing it forward. Depay on the half turn finds Ryan Gravenberch. To his right hand side for Stefan De Vrij. The Inter Milan player exchanging passes with Gravenberch, who then will flick it in. Depay with Wijnaldum making the run. And he couldn't get between the two defenders, and it goes all the way through for goalkeeper Dimitrievski. He's got a very different role playing for the Dutch national side, Gini Wijnaldum, than he had playing for Liverpool. Much more advanced than just buzzing in and around the two ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the tools to play slightly deep line, or alternatively just in behind a couple of strikers, you know, so just an outstanding footballer.
Van Aanholt forward at the left-hand touchline. North Macedonia winning it back. Now playing it down for Tchaikovsky, the man that just for a moment thought he had scored for the Macedonians. Lay that little bit deeper in the midfield for Ademi. Ajon Ademi, the Croatian-born Dinamo Zagreb player. Lofted ball from him to the right-back Ristovski. Half cleared. Ristovski has it again. Turn round the corner past Blind, and then Pandev ends up being challenged to the ball. Strong one from Gravenberch in the midfield. No foul. Pandev back on his feet, but told the referee what he thought of the non-decision. The Dutch able to continue building from the back with De Jong into the feet then of Wijnaldum. A little bit too much on the pass that was immediately played forward. The Macedonians have it back. Tchaikovsky, the Tchaikovsky, Pandev making his way forward. Alioski never needing a second invitation to bomb forward from left back. Towards into the feet of Ademi towards the edge of the D, and he's gone down and has stayed down holding his knee. The Dutch able to bring it away with a blonde-haired De Jong playing it down the left-hand side. Now Marlon trying to get himself into a one-on-one race with Ristovski, and he's won the first corner.
Yeah. It's who's we got down? Ademi on the floor at the moment, and not too happy with the officials on that decision.
Remains 0-0, still 0-0 as well between Ukraine and Austria. Ademi now getting back to his feet and limping away. It was a heavy challenge from Gravenberch, and the one on Ademi himself even heavier as the ball had just been played into his feet. And he just tried to nudge it off, and Gravenberch was in there again. I've seen plenty of his physical capabilities inside the opening 15 or 16 minutes. A tall, strong midfielder despite his young years, who doesn't take any prisoners in there. Corner to be taken on the Dutch left, and it's going to be Memphis Depay who will swing it in. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinging delivery. Blitz made his way forward, stands hands on hips about 15 yards from goal. Marlon, De Vrij by the penalty spot. Denzel Dumfries, who's shown himself to be a good aerial target, is in there as well. Yellow card's just been shown to the right back of North Macedonia, Stefan Ristovski. Don't know whether that was for dissent or for some pulling and shoving that was going on inside the penalty area. But he has been cautioned. The older brother of Milan Ristovsky, who's in the squad, but hasn't made the 23 today. So this first corner, Depay giving the signal, swung it towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and a diving header off the top of the head of Dumfries ends up going wide. Still 0-0 on Talksport. 17 minutes gone. Here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Dumfries done really well there. Good movement in the box, and he's diving header. Pandev just done enough to stay with him and just put him off. But I get the impression this day and age with players, they're too busy trying to buy a foul or commit a foul instead of concentrating on the ball and dealing with the ball.
North Macedonia work it long out of their left-hand touchline. Tchaikovsky running round the ball, able to flick it back. The Mallorca player knocked away. North Macedonia is able to pick up the seconds in the midfield. It's Ristovsky, a low skidding right-footed effort which might actually have worked better as a pass to Pandev, but it didn't quite find him either. And Blint's going to be able to help bring it away, and it'll be worked out towards Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum's got Memphis Depay making a run to his left-hand side. Depay just coming in off the left-hand touchline. It's a good ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Wijnaldum takes a touch, gets towards the byline, chips it in. Marlon was waiting. Defensive header was absolutely essential. Cleared by Depay, back out for Gravenberg. Dumfries stabs it back. Gravenberg trying to loft it in for Depay, just flick it over the shoulder of Elmas. Couldn't manage that, and then Pandev is fouled by Frenkie de Jong. But that was better from the Dutch. Good intricate footwork around the edge of the penalty area, and Wijnaldum, as always, involved in the heart of it.
Yeah, the Dutch have done really well. They broke into the box probably on about 4 occasions now, Jim, but they failed to get a shooting opportunity. Some of that has been by design because they've decided to pass when I think a shot's on, and some of it is just in wider areas. And they just haven't had a clear shot at goal as yet, and they've missed, well, they haven't had a shot on target, I don't believe, out of memory.
Coming up tonight, Finland against Belgium here on Talksport. Danny Kelly hosting, and Adam Bridge and Alvin Martin talking you through the action from Group B. And the final game between Russia and Denmark also takes place tonight, live on the Talksport network. That's on Talksport 2, and it kicks off at 8 with Mickey Gray alongside Mark Wilson, and Dan Windle is your host for that one. The Dutch in possession now, 0-0 between Ukraine and Austria, which means that Ukraine will be finishing second in the group as it stands. The Dutch have already got it sewn up, and they're in possession here with Blind. And as you say, Stu, still waiting for their first attempt on target. 20 minutes in with 60% possession. It's all been very easy on the eye up to a point, but no potency to go with it at the moment. Now Frenkie de Jong will try and bring it forward. Elmas is going to be able to knock it away, and then he will be able to chase and get on the end of the loose ball and play an Alioski. And Tchaikovsky's making his way into the middle, but it's a really poor delivery from a good position. And Blint will take a touch and will work it outside the penalty area to knock it away. It was a good break, and when they can get the bodies forward very quickly, they can make really good headway. Another opportunity towards the edge of the box. Stekelenburg's beaten by a right-footed shot, hits the inside of the post from Tchaikovsky, and then spins past the far post and goes out of play for a goal kick. Well, it's the Dutch with all the possession, but North Macedonia hitting the frame of the goal, inches away from taking the lead.
Absolutely glorious drive from Tchaikovsky. Just bashed off the inside of the post, across the goal line and out. Really unfortunate. Just get the impression that, as we stand at the moment, the Dutch are quite happy just to play when they've got the ball and not really do the hard miles, if you like, out of possession as much.
Still 0-0. North Macedonia will fancy their chances of being able to come to Amsterdam and potentially getting a positive result. They won 2-1 in a World Cup qualifier in Germany earlier this season, and so far tonight they've had one disallowed, rightly disallowed for offside, but there were literally 2 or 3 inches in it, and now they've hit the inside of the post. Still in the first quarter of the game. Here's Blint. And Blint will play it forward towards the halfway line. Gravenberg on halfway, finding De Ligt to Stefan de Vrij. The other game in this group, incidentally, is Ukraine 0, Austria 1, and Baumgartner is the man that has got that goal. So Austria leading Ukraine by a goal to 0. Van Almholt laying the ball back. That means that Austria are second in the group as things stand. Daniel Marlin, level with the edge of the penalty area, pulls it back for Ryan Gravenberg. Gravenberg to Blint. Blint through the midfield towards Frankie de Jong. Wijnaldum, it's just poked back by Musliu to Alioski, and Macedonians will be able to bring it away. And when they can break, they have a numerical superiority because the attacking midfielders really will push forward as quickly as possible. Žižkovski now to Elmas. The Dutch have got the shape back behind the ball this time, and that hasn't always been the case. Ristovski plays it back to the edge of the centre circle for Ademi, who goes through the centre circle and finding Musliu out wide towards shock of blonde hair of Gianni Alioski. Now to Trajkovski again. Just draws De Ligt towards the ball before flicking it right-footed towards the edge of the penalty area. Blint in with a strong challenge. The Dutch will be able to bring it away, and Marlin can find Depay. Depay's got Wijnaldum to his left, Marlin to his right. Wijnaldum making his way through. It's laid back instead for Memphis Depay, and the Dutch lead by a goal to nil. Well, the Macedonians have twice come close on the counter-attack, but the Dutch have shown them exactly how it's done. Breaking forward so quickly. Strong challenge on the edge of the penalty area at one end, and 8 seconds later the ball is in the net at the other. Still, Goran Pandev is down after that challenge from Daley Blind, but that was the catalyst for the counter-attack. Marlin and Depay breaking forward with real pace and intent, and the ball rolled in for Memphis Depay to give the Dutch a 1-0 lead. Yeah, it was that counter-attack we were talking about earlier. Marlin's second touch after turning the ball over was a little bit loose and a little bit wide. I thought the opportunity had gone. North Macedonia got back in numbers, but the pullback was brilliant. Really good around the penalty spot. Depay just stroking it side foot, left foot, between two defenders into the back of the net. And the Macedonians not happy. Pandev caught on the edge of the box by Blind. And will this go to VAR potentially, Jim? Well, it has gone to VAR, and I don't know what exactly it is that they will be looking at. Are they looking at that Blind challenge on Goran Pandev right at the other end of the field? They can only be looking at that, I would suspect. Definitely no offside there, not to my eye line. Well, Isvan Kovac is just waiting for the confirmation from the VAR. Marco Di Bello, who's watching on in Nyon in Switzerland at UEFA headquarters. But the goal stands, and North Macedonian hopes that there might be a reprieve have come to nothing. So the Dutch leading. Memphis Depay, it's the 50th goal that he's been involved in with his country in his 67 international appearances. 28 goals, 22 assists. I've got to say, it was a super challenge by Blind on the edge of the box. It was, this day and age, skirting on a foul, skirting on it, but not quite. Yeah, in the old days, standing ovation territory, but it certainly would have been. These days, yeah, not so much. But no foul, much to the chagrin of the Macedonians, who remember in the first quarter of the game had one ruled out for the most marginal offsides and then hit the inside of the post. Twice they've been within 6 inches of taking the lead. Well, it's the Dutch that have the advantage. Memphis Depay's second goal of the tournament, his 4th in tournament play in his career, and his 28th for his country. Elmas bringing it forward. Depay, the man on target for the Dutch. Baumgartner, the man on target for Austria. So as things stand in the group at the moment, it's the Netherlands 9, Austria 6, Ukraine 3, North Macedonia 0. If it ends that way, it'll be very hard to see Ukraine qualifying. I think 3 points with a negative goal difference will not be one of the 4th best records of a 3rd place team. And that isn't for certain, but it would be hard with the game, with the groups just positioned the way they are at the moment, for Ukraine really with any degree of certainty to feel that that would be enough for them. A draw almost certainly would be. They would then finish second with a draw, and Austria would finish third, and I think Austria with 4 points and a goal difference of 0 under those circumstances would be okay. But Austria looking after themselves at the moment. Runners up of this group take on Italy at Wembley, and like every other game of the tournament, that's one that you will be able to hear live on Talksport. I think that's on the 26th. Blint brings the ball forward now, over the halfway line. He just clips it left-footed into the feet of Donyell Marlon. Marlon trying to turn his man back on. Holt plays it forward. Out comes the goalkeeper. And able to smother at the feet of Memphis Depay. It was good anticipation from Dimitrievski, who gathers on the penalty spot. Ukraine 0, Austria 1. Live for you right now over on Talksport 2. And in this one that we're watching from our studio monitors in London, taking place in Amsterdam, the Netherlands lead North Macedonia 1-0.
Yeah, and rightly so. It was probably the first opportunity they got, that they managed to get an effort away on target, but well worked. And once again, North Macedonia just left themselves a little bit open. They're happy to throw people forward, and rightly so, where they are.
Tchaikovsky, rising drive that Stecklenburg probably just about had covered. Tchaikovsky inside the penalty area wasn't happy that Tchaikovsky chose the selfish route, didn't try and play him in. And that has been acknowledged. But they've certainly given a good account of themselves going forward, the Macedonians, but it's been the same way throughout the tournament, defensively, with a back four or with a back five. They're just not quite sound enough, and that's been what's let them down. It could be 2-0 here as it's played in. Great save, Dimitrievski, out very quickly. Then another effort comes in. It was Dumfries who was denied the first time of asking. Second shot from distance was blocked. The goalkeeper came out really well, saved with his legs, just got there ahead of Denzel Dumfries to deny the Dutch right back a third goal in 3 games.
Yeah, I think Dumfries, clear goalie to beat, had to take it first time. Maybe if he'd have just slowed himself and a little dink over the goalie, if he's a naturalised striker, potentially that would have been the better option. But good goalkeeping all the same, and good defence on the secondary.
Elmas finding Alioski to Tchaikovsky, who's been the danger man so far for North Macedonia. It's around the edge of the penalty area. He was the man that hit the post. Hardy tries to play it in here. He's blocked off on the edge of the box, but no foul. And it's a free kick which will be taken just on the edge of the penalty area by the Dutch, who lead by a goal to 0.
I was just looking at Blint's reaction to the challenge he made on the edge of the box, and he's almost put his hand up to apologise.
Marlon playing it in here. It's Dumfries again. Down towards the right-hand touchline. Wijnaldum in support. And it's just actually, as the ball's gone out of play for a throw, just given Alioski a little shove. Ball comes back for De Jong. De Jong finding Blint. Blint playing it forward into the feet on the edge of the penalty area of Marlon, but his shot is wild and almost goes out of the ground. Out of play, goal kick, and it's 1-0 to the Netherlands.
Yeah, the Dutch are having great joy getting the ball just in front of the back line of Macedonia. The 2 central defenders, Velkovsky and Milayo, are just playing just too wide apart and allowing balls into feet so they can play little give and goes round the corner, and they're just not together collectively, the back four.
Ristovski goes back to his goalkeeper. Dimitrievski with a high chip ball forward that is flicked on through the midfield, but not particularly accurately by Tchaikovsky. Brought down at the back by Musliu, and then De Jong in towards Wijnaldum, and it just ricochets off his shoulder and goes innocuously inside the Macedonian penalty area. Dutch lead it by a goal to 0, hoping to extend their winning run to 4. This would be an 8th win in 10 as well. Their unbeaten streak currently standing at 6 since that 4-2 defeat at the hands of Turkey in the World Cup qualifier, where they were really off colour that day. And when you consider how badly Turkey have done in this tournament, that just shows really how bad the Dutch were that particular night. They have got things sorted out since then. That Ukraine-Austria game, still 1-0 to the Austrians, but the goal scorer Baumgartner's just had to go off through injury. Schupf coming on to replace him in a game that is live for you right now over on Talksport 2. Just to reiterate that at the moment it will be Austria that will be going through in second place from this group. They lead by a goal to 0. Matthijs de Ligt, former Ajax man who played against Manchester United in the Europa League final back in 2017, now at Juventus. By Stefan de Vrij, back for de Ligt, is Daley Blind. Blind on home turf, played nearly 270 games for Ajax. Memphis Depay, venturing forward into Macedonian territory. Back it comes for Blind. Blind to Frankie de Jong. De Jong away past the referee to playing Patrick van Aanholt. Has been preferred to Owen Wijndal on the left-hand side of the Dutch defensive cordon over the course of this tournament, which was something that not many Dutch supporters saw coming. Wijndal not even in the 23 today. Ball out of play again. It's a throw which will be taken by Ristovski, the right back, who's the only player to have been booked so far. Dutch, as well as that defeat to Turkey, have been beaten by Italy in the Nations League and Mexico in a friendly this season. But just one defeat in 13 coming into tonight. As far as North Macedonia are concerned, their last away game brought the best result in their history with that 2-1 success in Duisburg. Goals from Pandev and Elmas to inflict the Germans' first defeat in a World Cup qualifier for 20 years. First time they've lost one since the famous 5-1 in Munich. What a night that was. Dimitrievski, the goalkeeper, in all yellow, smacking it upfield. Jim Bradford and Stuart Pearce with you from London, watching on as the game takes place in Amsterdam. The Dutch leading by a goal to nil. Giving away a free kick. Memphis Depay will consider himself unlucky. Velkoski nudging it straight into him from close range, but it hit his hand. And it is a free kick that the Macedonians will take. What do they need to do more of, Stu, to get themselves back into this game? Or if you were their coach, Merme Angelovski, would you be pretty happy with the way things are going?
I think defensively they're looking very vulnerable. On the turnover of possession, they seem high and wide. Their back four, certainly the two central defenders, have been split by the two centre forwards of Holland, and that's causing them a bit of a problem. On the counter-attack, they look half a threat actually. They're getting numbers forward, but the downside of that is you're always open to the counter-attack. But the situation Macedonia are in, they've got nothing to lose basically. They're going home after this game, so just go and enjoy it and try and score a goal or two.
Only two teams have ever lost their first three games at the Euros, which was Denmark back in 1984. They were European champions 8 years later. And Turkey in 1996 are the others. And North Macedonia themselves haven't lost three in a row since 2016. Here's Gravenberg. He's trying to work it forward. The man who certainly left his mark on a couple of Macedonians in the first quarter of an hour of the game. Blint, the outside of the boot, laying it back inside his own half at De Vrij. Stefan De Vrij emerges from the centre circle. Right-footed ball forward from him. Picked up easily by Van Aanholt. Square to Ryan Gravenberg. Movement off the ball is decent. Flanked it inside the penalty area, but too much on it for Wijnaldum's run. Alioski always under control. In the end, he just let it bounce over his shoulder and go out of play for a goal kick, which Dimitrievski will take. 35 gone. And it's still 1-0 to the Netherlands.
Yeah, just looking at the young lad, Gravenberg, he's almost playing in a very relaxed manner. You know, I've not seen a great deal of him, but for one of his first games and being so young, you would expect him, even though the rest of the team potentially are playing in a slow sort of language style, almost we've got our points already, we're just playing through the game, you'd expect him to play on higher revs.
Sliding challenge coming in from Alioski gives the Dutch a corner. There's Denzel Dumfries making his way forward again. Mentioned earlier that he scored the winner against Ukraine and scored in the second game against Austria. The only Dutchman ever to score in his first 3 Euros matches is Ruud van Nistelrooy. So Dumfries will be in very good company if he can find the net today. Never scored an international goal coming into the tournament. He's one of the five that they'll try and hit with this corner, and it was aimed at him just too high for him. Gravenberg getting the better of Pandev, who slid in and couldn't get the ball away from him. Eventually Ristovski is able to clear his lines. Pandev fell down having felt that he was caught, just tried to get as much of his body between the ball and Gravenberg as he could, and ends up needing Ristovski's defensive intervention to put it behind for another corner. Dutch second in quick succession, their third of the game.
Yeah, that was better from Gravenberg. You know, showed real intensity there, driving into the box.
Memphis Depay takes this. More air underneath it. It's nodded back down off Elmas, but there's been a push. And it's a free kick given away by Donjan Malen. which the North Macedonians will take inside their 6-yard box. 1-0, the Netherlands lead. 1-0 as well, Austria leading Ukraine over on Talksport 2.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. This stage of a tournament, when the head-to-heads come, kick-offs at the same time, and the dynamics of the groups just change by the second almost.
And the Macedonians can bring it forward here with Ristovski, played inside the penalty area and volleyed over his own bar by De Vrij, a looping clearance that gives the Macedonians their first corner. Yeah, this one precariously placed because Ukraine-Austria has a direct influence on who finishes second, who finishes third. Later could be even more exciting. Belgium know they're through, but they haven't won the group yet. They take on Finland, Russia take on Denmark. Both of those games live for you from 8 o'clock tonight. Well, the Belgium game here on Talksport, and Russia-Denmark over on Talksport 2. What can the Macedonians do from this first corner? 6 inside the penalty area. It's pulled back to the edge of the box instead. Right-footed effort is an optimistic one which hits Wijnaldum. Bardi's effort ricocheting back through the midfield. Alioski does well, turns it over his shoulder, and Trajkovski will bring it down and flick it away from Van Aanholt. Matthijs de Ligt is in the way to half clear it after a Danish dynamic run, but it's out only as far as Elmas, and then a right-footed effort. Flick with the outside of the boot is too optimistic. Bardi's effort spirals wide, now to play for a goal kick.
Yeah, Macedonia kept players forward on that occasion from the corner, but just got too excited looking to get the shot away in an area where, in all honesty, he wasn't balanced to do so. Need to set it up, get it out wide, and with the amount of players in the box, set up a crossing opportunity.
North Macedonia benefited from the Nations League. They won their group in League D, which is the bottom league, and that meant that they qualified for a place in the playoffs for the Euros. They beat Kosovo 2-1 at home, then went to Georgia and won 1-0 there. And then they should have won their group in League C in the Nations League after that. That would have seen them qualify for the World Cup playoffs, but they lost in Armenia in the final game when they only needed a draw to win the group. They ended up getting beaten, finishing second as a result, and it's Armenia that have qualified for the World Cup playoffs at the very least. Well, the Macedonians still have a chance to qualify through their qualifying group, and having won away in Germany, they're not without a chance. They have another opportunity here, so we're a second corner. Movement again, Pandev coming in towards the near post, and that just created a little bit of space in behind Muslu that's attacked it, but he didn't get enough contact with his forehead to it. And he's come off it at too slight an angle and whistled across the face of goal and wide.
Yeah, really good effort there. Great movement to get across the front of the Dutch back line. And as I say, it was just too shallow of a contact.
Muslu, just the one international goal for him, which came against Liechtenstein back in 2017. That was a presentable opportunity. They've not been without chances. If you're just joining us, they've hit the inside of the post of North Macedonia. They've had a goal disallowed rightly for offside by the VAR, but that was almost as marginal as they can get. And that was a decent chance that has gone their way as well. And certainly in terms of expected goals up to this point, they should be well on top. They're not. They're 1-0 down, and that's all that matters. Memphis Depay's 25th minute goal is the difference between the two teams. Coming up to half-time, we've got 4 minutes to go to the break. Won't be too much time to be added on. De Vrij bringing the ball under control on the edge of his own penalty area, and now able to just make his way forward. No pressure coming on the ball at all. They're not a side with an intensity of press, North Macedonia. And when eventually he does play it forward, it's won back by the visiting team. The home team in this fixture, but playing on foreign soil. Blind now can work it down the left-hand side for Memphis Depay as the Dutch turn over possession. Depay skipping around the first challenge, and the second, trying to put it on the plate at the near post for Marlon. And it will eventually be cleared easily enough by the Macedonians, but that was excellent play from Memphis Depay making his way forward. Van Aanholt had made an excellent run into an advanced position as well. They were almost queuing up for it, but just couldn't quite find any of them, Memphis Depay.
Yeah, Depay done really well there. I think it was Ristov come across and There was no intention at all of jockeying anybody. It's Velkovsky, come out of his middle slot and just dived in basically and give his wicket away.
What have you made of Memphis Depay? Not just today, but in the first game of the tournament. We'll come back to that in a moment. Frankie de Jong works it forward, and it might break for Depay after a clever touch from Marlon. The touch not clever enough as it turned out, and ends up in the hands of Dimitrievski. But we saw him in the last game against Austria, and we've seen 45 minutes here. He's a very different player now to that laboured at Manchester United.
Yeah, I think he's had a decent tournament so far, you know. I like him alongside Weghorst. I think he offers a lovely foil. The pair of them offer a foil for each other, really. They've got that aerial threat and hold-up play, also mobility and movement in behind, but certainly technically very good Depay. And listen, if you're coming up against him, he is the main threat that you worry about.
Wijnaldum not happy with himself at lack of direction of the ball played forward by him, and he goes through for Dimitrievski, who plays it out from the back to the midfielder Ademi. North Macedonia trailing by a goal to nil. Same situation in Bucharest. Ukraine a goal down against Austria. Austria, as things stand, would finish second in that group. Ukraine third, probably with a good enough record. As Frankie de Jong plays it forward here, Dimitrievski has to act as sweeper keeper and just comes out, gets there ahead of Memphis Depay, got his shin pads to it. That was enough to take it around the soon-to-be Barcelona player.
Top quality goalkeeping there, was very aware, shot off his line and dealt with it. If it wasn't for that and the fact that Depay thought to himself, hang on a minute, I could take one here, I think he just put the brakes on to get through to the make sure he's fully fit for the next round.
Here's Frankie de Jong. Marlon stretching the play out to his left. Blint has come forward from the left of the three centre halves. Plays it back now for De Ligt. De Ligt for Daley Blint again. Frankie de Jong making a run off him. There's opportunity to get it into the feet of Patrick van Aanholt. Now Depay can take the ball on the turn and find Denzel Dumfries. Right-footed cross comes shot from him. Blocked by Alioski. Ball bounces out towards the touchline where Alioski gets there first ahead of Dumfries, and then Tchaikovsky can aid him and bring it away. A couple of minutes to be added at the end of the first half for the VAR inspections. Here's Patrick van Aanholt. Ball flicked in. Depay almost, Gravenberch, I beg your pardon, almost able to take him brilliantly on the turn to get away from Velkovsky. He ended up getting a corner out of it, but it was almost dainty, deft and delicious from Ryan Gravenberch.
Yeah, it was twinkle toes, if you like, step over, drag back, and he was almost out of control. I'm not sure how a referee could in any way, shape or form give a penalty in that occasion. And the Dutch, once again, probably a little over-elaborate, I would say.
They have corner number 4 at the end of this first half. And it's the usual setup for them. Marlon near the edge of the 6-yard box. 4 others forward, making runs from a similar position from deep. Swung him very deep towards Wijnaldum, and the Macedonians' claims that the ball had swerved over the line before coming back inside the penalty area are heeded. And Depay apologises to his teammates as he trots back in. 1-0, approaching the end of the first minute of stoppage time. And North Macedonia have given a good account of themselves. I think if they can continue to play like this on a consistent basis, you couldn't rule out them necessarily qualifying for the World Cup, just about.
I think the key is getting someone who can score goals. With Pandev, retiring. I know you said before the game his goals record isn't outstanding, but you still need somebody to score goals, and he has been a goal scorer over his career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he hasn't banged them in regularly in Serie A over the last few years. His international record, 38 for a country who are ranked outside the top 60 in the world. I mean, that is really
very good.
creditable over a long international career. And he's been heavily involved today, but he hasn't had a sniff of goal. His teammates have. Tchaikovsky having the ball in the net, chalked out for the closest of offside calls, and then Tchaikovsky hit the inside of the post. Those both at 0-0. But the Dutch were able to break after a firm challenge by Blint went unpunished on Pandev, and then on the counter-attack Memphis Depay was able to capitalise and put the ball over the line. Half-time in Amsterdam, the Dutch leading the Macedonians by a goal to 0. Thank you, Mark. And the Dutch have made a double change at the beginning of the second half. A straight swap on the right-hand side of the back line, Jurien Timber, the young Ajax defender, on for Stefan de Vrij, and Zenzel Dumfries has been replaced by Steven Berghuis, the former Watford player, who now is on the books of Feyenoord. So a double change made by the Dutch at the beginning of the second half, and Berghuis has taken up station in that right wing-back position vacated by Dumfries. Timber playing on the right-hand side of the centre halves. He has had a spectacular rise. He's only made 31 appearances for Ajax. He only made one for them at the start of this season. But he comes on here for his fourth cap for his country. He did actually start the first game of the tournament. So I'll run through the two teams for you in a moment, but North Macedonia are in possession, trying to work their way out, and they've been able to do so brilliantly with Bardi from inside his own half. Pandev, after a good advantage from the referee, played to the right-hand side. Good move from Ristovski on the overlap, and he's played in by Tchaikovsky. Ball inside the penalty area is cleared. They've already shown intent to get more bodies in and around Pandev in support when they can push forward, and Ademi is probably playing 10 yards further forward at the start of this second half than he did in the first period. So the Dutch lining up Stekelenburg in goal, Timber, De Ligt and Blind, Berghuis, Gravenberch, Frenkie de Jong and Van Aanholt, and then Wijnaldum in support of Marlon and Depay up front. Now the Macedonians, Dimitrievski in goal, Ristovski, Velkovsky, Musliu and Alioski, Elmas and Bardi, Tchaikovsky, Ademi, Tchaikovsky, and Pandev on his final appearance for his country leads the line. 90 seconds into the second half, Dutch lead it 1-0 after Memphis Depay's first half goal, and alongside me, as always, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Depay very unfortunate just then. Once again, another turnover of possession in midfield, and from that the through pass just cut out when Depay was clear going in on goal, but that'll be where the goal comes from, when the second one comes from the Dutch, I'm sure.
Alioski volleying a ball inside the penalty area that bounced awkwardly. Van Aanholt able to just smuggle it away. Back in over the head of Alioski to the left-hand side of the penalty area for Tchaikovsky. And North Macedonia giving a good account of themselves at the beginning of the second half in a bid to get back into the game, but always leaving themselves potentially prone to a counter-attack. Memphis Depay in a position where he's trying to race through there, and Musliu stopped him and was just determined to stop him by whatever means, fair or foul, and it didn't end up being the former. And his arms all around Depay, pulling him one way and then the other, and the free kick on halfway is accompanied by a yellow card.
Yeah, it was Musliu cut out the through ball moments earlier, and on that occasion he was happy for the ball to go through but not the man.
So it becomes the second player to have his name taken. Ristovski booked in the first half, so that's 2 of the 4 in the Macedonian back line in the book. As Berghuis plays it down the right-hand touchline, and it's cut out easily. Now flicked off Timber and out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Macedonian left-hand side. That's taken up some very advanced positions at Timber. Just wonder whether the Dutch have effectively in possession. Switch to a 4-4-2 now. They've got a corner as a sliding challenge comes in from Musliu. He's been here, there and everywhere at the beginning of this second half. It's the first corner of the second period, and it's going to be taken on the Dutch right as they look to double their lead.
Yeah, opportunity here from the corner, just a whip in. Dutch loading up 6 players in the box for them.
Berghuis with the delivery, and he's headed off the line. Really good clearance from Tchaikovsky to deny Matthijs de Ligt. Excellent corner, really well attacked, and Tchaikovsky at his most alert with a powerful header just to get that away from right underneath his crossbar.
Well, I've got to say, Jim, fantastic header by de Ligt, but an equally better header off the line by Tchaikovsky.
That was a tremendous piece of defending. All through for Patrick Van Aanholt. Van Aanholt is 5 yards inside the Macedonian half. Played now down towards Memphis Depay. Van Aanholt exchanging passes again, and he goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Macedonian right-hand side. Just getting another view of it. De Ligt did well. He got himself isolated against the shorter Ristovski. Well, that's high quality defending from Tchaikovsky. Just had to be so alert, shuffle across to his right so quickly and head the ball away.
Yeah, it almost, as De Ligt's headed the ball, it's bounced, and great pullback there by Depay, got to the touchline, and Wijnaldum was there, Johnny on the spot, 3 yards out, couldn't miss, side-footed in.
Gini Wijnaldum doubling the lead. A popular goal scorer throughout Amsterdam and the Netherlands as the Dutch lead by 2 goals to 0. A record-breaking goal for the Dutch as well. It's the first time in their history that they've scored 2 or more goals in 10 successive games. And it all came just after a loose touch in the midfield. Berghuis flicking that towards the left-hand side of the area. And Depay playing it in. Wijnaldum couldn't miss, and it's 2-0 to the Dutch.
Yeah, once again, really loose play in midfield. I think it was Pandev on that occasion, give the ball away 30 metres out. Good interchange, good movement by Depay. He's been a real threat all day with his movement in behind. If he hasn't been getting shots away, he's been the one setting up and the supplier. Good finish, 2-0.
So the Dutch, 2 goals to the good, and Gini Wijnaldum, who scored the opener against Ukraine, gets his 2nd goal of the tournament. It's his 13th in 21 games for his country, and that's an outstanding attacking record. And they've only ever failed to win once when he scored. I don't think they'll be failing to win this one. They lead by 2 goals to 0. Here's Frenkie de Jong. Played through the midfield for Wijnaldum, who can't quite juggle the ball on his chest in full flow. And Tchaikovsky comes back to mop up, wearing 9, but playing in the midfield. His ball forward is chested down by Timber, back in towards de Jong. De Jong has got support from Berghuis. Oh, he's just gracefully danced his way through. And everything about that was absolutely glorious to watch, except for the end product and the ball forward. It just found its way through to a very light grey shirt. 2-0 to the Dutch on Talksport, and it remains 1-0 to Austria, the other game in this group, which is live for you right now over on Talksport 2.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's more goals in this game, but maybe it's my head ruling my heart there, because I've got a 4-0 in the prediction league actually for the tournament to the Dutch.
Yeah, it could be. It's funny how this game will go from here. I mean, do the Dutch, now that they've got the job done and they know they're going to maintain in all likelihood their 100% record, do they take their foot off the gas and maybe rotate a little bit more?
I don't think they've been flat out in this game. It's that their best chances have come when North Macedonia have given the ball away cheaply, and from there they've been stretched defensively.
Marlon on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Has support. Van Aanholt making a run one side of it. It's played back for Gravenberg, who curves it over the top right-hand corner. Now that breaking news from the England camp, just to reiterate the reports from about 10 minutes or so ago, that because of their contact with Billy Gilmore, both Ben Chilwell and Mason Mount are reported to be in isolation in the England camp. Certainly Mason Mount, who was due to be alongside Gareth Southgate at the England press conference at 6:30 today, isn't going to be in attendance, which backs up the validity of those reports that we've been hearing. But more on that ongoing story over the course of the evening here on Talksport.
I would ask the question, Jim, where is the contact been with Chilwell? He wasn't on the pitch, was he? Are they saying afterwards, before?
I think afterwards. I think that there was the England players going on the pitch afterwards. Their teammates at Chelsea. I can only imagine it came from that.
And if that doesn't send a message out to the players about isolation and common sense, you know, well, incredible. It really is. And this might be defining within the complex of the tournament. You know, if you lose your better players as time goes on in the tournament, it could be very, very costly for any team.
Well, back to the here and now, and it's 2-0 to the Dutch. But a free kick here to North Macedonia. It's near the edge of the penalty area. It's only about 20-21 yards from goal. And the wall is being front marched back, which means that Donjan Marlon, who's the player that is lying down behind the wall, just has to shuffle, almost roll back the the extra yard or so that the referee has asked. Timber, Van Arnholt, Gravenberch and Blint in the wall. It's Alioski that stands over it. Will it be Alioski? Will it be Bardi? It is going to be Bardi, and it's a decent free kick, really well hit. Stekelenburg diving to his right-hand side was able to punch it away. Certainly got the power in it. And he ends up getting put out of play via the punch for a throw. Good hit by Bardi, and he's won another throw.
Yeah, it certainly was. Whipped it across his body. I think the goalkeeper half expected him to go up and down over the wall, but Stekelenburg went to his right and just got two solid fists on it and just parried it away.
There's the side of the goal that the goalkeeper showed him. He would have been disappointed to have been beaten from there. Another change is going to be made. Tchaikovsky had the ball in the net at 0-0 in the first half, only to be denied by an offside flag. Is now replaced by Darko Sherlinov, a right winger who's lived most of his life in Germany. He's the youngest ever international for North Macedonia, made his debut at 16. He's 20 now and comes on for only his 5th appearance for his country. All of them have been as a substitute, with a big part in 2 of the 3 games in this tournament. So Cherlinov on for Tchaikovsky. It's a straight swap on the right hand side. Change that's made 11 minutes in. North Macedonia 0, Netherlands 2. Still Ukraine 0, Austria 1 on Talksport 2, which means that the Austrians will be going through second in the group as things stand right now. The Dutch have the ball at the back with Daley Blind. Thijs de Ligt is to his right. They've just played infield instead for Frenkie de Jong. De Jong back for Van Arnholt. Gravenberch twisting and turning in possession, going out to the left-hand side for De Jong. De Jong will just saunter in after playing the ball down the inside left channel for Gravenberch. Back it comes for Frenkie de Jong again. Now Timber making his way forward and through into the midfield. De Jong, slip round the corner, Marlon for Depay, and put in by Van Allen for 3. It's an exquisite goal. Brilliant approach play from the Dutch. Pass after pass, just trying to work the angles, and then one defence splitting ball between the lines, running onto it, the initial shot saved, but Wijnaldum couldn't miss, follows up 2 in 6 minutes for him, and the Dutch are 3 goals to the good.
Yeah, they've turned this game into a very comfortable victory now. The Dutch, good interchange of play. Defensively, North Macedonia not getting tight to people, a little give and go, a little set round the corner, but good play, and once again, really good play, and Depay is involved in everything. It was his movement from Marlon round the corner. He set off the goalkeeper, and then from there, Wijnaldum couldn't miss. Been 2 comfortable goals for him.
2 goals for the Dutch captain, who is now the joint leading scorer in the tournament with 3, alongside Patrick Schick and Cristiano Ronaldo. And he might be the leading scorer in a moment, because the Dutch have won it straight back from the kick-off on another needless turnover of possession given away. And North Macedonia are able to bring it forward, and Tchaikovsky has now gone out to the right flank and is able to win a throw. 3 goals in 3 matches for Wijnaldum, who scored 8 in 7 games in qualifying. He's got a really impressive record in competitive internationals for the Dutch, and they've coasted after those early couple of scares in the first quarter of the game. This has been a cakewalk for them.
Yeah, it's been very, very comfortable, and I think if you look at the stats of the amount of contacts that Depay's had in the opposition's box, the numbers will be up in 8 or 9 really good contacts, either putting the ball in the net or rolling efforts on or getting efforts away himself. So that is the mark of how well he's doing for the team.
Berghaus has just given it away. North Macedonia might be able to bring it forward themselves. Elmas, player with a big reputation, who hasn't really been able to get too much service today, the Napoli player. And he's won a throw. He's so versatile. He played on the left-hand side of midfield against Austria, and then in the game against Ukraine, he started off as a second striker, moved to the left wing, then to a 10, ended up as a 4. Now here, there and everywhere. Elif Elmas, who was their top scorer in qualifying and scored in 3 successive games earlier this season. Only 21 already. This is his 30th cap for his country. And so you just think what number he might end up on. His industry is integral in the Dutch winning this quarter, in the Macedonians winning a corner here, which is their first of the second half. And the blonde-haired figure of Alioski stands over it, but it's Bardi that whips it in towards the near post, and Elmas has headed it wide.
Yeah, really unlucky there by Elmas. Good movement across the front post, and just got too solid a contact on the ball. Needed a little glance, I think, across the face of the goal.
So you got 4-0 in the predictor. It's 3-0 with an hour gone. Do you think you've gone too low? Do you think you've gone too high? What do you think?
I think this could be a 5-0. I think I've peaked too soon, which is often the case with me, Jim.
That's an age thing. Here's Frenkie de Jong bringing it forward, and he's playing another great defence-splitting ball. Van Aanholt on the overlap, whips it in. Van Aanholt again. Oh, he scooped it just over the bar. Could have been his hat-trick.
Well, the coupon buster there was just prodded with the outside of his right foot as he broke in. You knew when he's gone into the touchline that it was going to be the player holding his run slightly at the edge of the box. That was Wijnaldum again, but on that occasion, good covering defensive play.
And Velkoski just came back with him. Got the Dutch in the mood, sensing the blood in the water here. Elmas was able to bring it away, and he skipped away from Daley Blind. Elmas playing it out to the left-hand touchline. Sherlinoff. Back for Elmas. Elmas chipping it down towards Ristovski. Ball played forward by the right back into the feet of Goran Pandev. Pandev, how fitting it would be if he could end his international career with a goal in a fixture in which he scored a couple of times before. Ball played in from the right-hand touchline by Ristovski, and it's hit Van Aanholt and goes out of play for a throw right down by the corner flag that North Macedonia are attacking.
Yeah, North Macedonia just lacking that final pass. They've created some decent efforts, got into decent attacking areas with numbers, but it's that final pass, final cross, and the Dutch at the other end have shown them exactly how to do it.
Coming up later today on Talksport, the conclusion of Group B, of which more in a moment, as Pandev tries to get on the end of the cross. Sherlinoff can't control it, is it? Evaded the first two players in the middle, and it's come off him and gone out of play for a goal kick. So this is the conclusion of Group C. The Dutch, we know, have won the group, and they're going to have a 100% record. North Macedonia aren't going to get a point, but it's all to play for second and third. Austria currently in the box seat. They would get Italy at Wembley in the round of 16. They lead Ukraine in Bucharest by a goal to nil, but a Ukrainian equaliser there, and the two will change places. Coming up, the end of Group B later on. Finland against Belgium here on Talksport, and Denmark, without a point to their name so far, but they could easily end up second in the group. They go to Russia, or take on Russia, in Copenhagen. Should I say that game's live for you right now, or will be over on Talksport 2 after Ukraine against Austria. So a double bill coming up for you. Dutch going to make another double change very shortly. Weghorst is just getting ready for action. One of the two Dutch substitutes who's about to come on. Sherlinoff lays it back down to the left back position. Muslu will get it away, not too far. It's chested down well by De Ligt, whose second touch was almost a tackle, but he was able to rescue it and find Van Aanholt. Van Aanholt into the feet of Depay. Depay able just to flick it back for the erstwhile Crystal Palace man. Now Memphis Depay has it again on the corner of the penalty area. Gets onto his right foot, then checks back onto his left, and he's beaten the Dani 2 or 3 times here. Still can't get it in. Now a little back heel trying to play Van Aanholt in, and the Dani read it. He stuck to his task well. Tchaikovsky wins the throw off De Jong. 3-0 to the Dutch.
Yeah, as I say, Depay, he's integral in everything the Dutch have done, really. The more the game's gone on, the more he's been part and parcel of everything that goes through him. I've got a feeling they might be giving him the hook shortly as they make the odd substitution and maybe keep him fresh for the next game.
The Dutch will be playing against one of the teams that finished third in their group. So is it going to be Weghorst for Depay very shortly? Push here by Alioski, who has Paul Berghaus is quick to apologise, both hands up towards the referee by way of apology. It is a yellow card for Gianni Alioski.
Yeah, he's caught in there, Alioski. I don't think he actually meant to do it. He's actually trying to put his foot down, and, well, maybe I'm giving him a bit more credit than he deserves.
Gets a yellow card. And if the Macedonians had qualified for the round of 16, he would miss that game through suspension, but that's all academic. Memphis Depay leaves the field, and Van Veghorst will come on to replace him. Depay, who's done his job again, scored the first goal against Austria and supplied the breakthrough goal tonight. Veghorst on for Depay. Player has scored 2 in his last 3 games. And the Dutch are making a change up in front alongside him, as Donjan Malen also is withdrawn, and Quincy Promes comes on for his 50th cap for his country. Player who's recently rejoined Spartak Moscow from Ajax. His score against England in the Nations League semi-final a couple of years ago. He's not found the net in his 11 games since then, and comes on for his 50th cap more than 7 years after making his debut. So a double change up top. And will Promes and Veghorst be able to have the same kind of joy as Depay and Malen before? Macedonians in possession inside their own half. It's worked back for Bardi. One Adam has won the ball back for the Netherlands. And able to turn over possession very neatly. It's back for Ryan Gravenberg. Berghaus in there, lost it, won it back. Frenkie de Jong slipping it in. Veghorst hits the bar with his first touch. And it could have been 4.
Another coupon-busting effort there. Once again, poor giveaway of possession. You can't keep giving the ball away at this level of football. Causing them down for their own problems, and a great strike. Beat the goalkeeper, hands down, and cannoned off the roof of off the top of the crossbar.
Well, he scored 25 goals for Wolfsburg this season, 63 over 3 seasons with the club. An impressive strike rate for the big Dutchman, who stands 6'6", and he could easily have made it 4. But Frenkie de Jong, in a game where there's not much pressure on the ball, so he's got time and space, and that extra half second to that he might normally be used to. His delivery of defence-splitting passes has been exemplary.
Yeah, I've got a feeling, as you say, he's not been under a great deal of pressure. I don't think the North Macedonians are pressing particularly well. Any press they do get on themselves, they seem to be giving the ball away.
Well, this is a big moment, the end of Goran Pandev's international career, and his teammates and opponents alike stand and applaud. In fact, the Macedonians are going to give him a guard of honour as he is substituted off the field. He's in tears. The end of his 122nd and final international appearance. But you can see what it means to him. You can see what he means to the rest of his compatriots, not just those involved, those in the stands, those undoubtedly back home in Skopje and beyond, where he has been such a benefactor. He set up a football club that has won promotion and now plays top-flight football. Indeed, one of the members of the Macedonia squad, Marjan Radeski, actually plays for Academia Pandev. His international career ends. It's going to end in defeat. It ends without a goal. It ends in a flood of tears. But he should be justifiably proud of everything that he has achieved, both on and off the field, over the course of such an illustrious international career that has gone on for the thick end of 2 decades.
Yeah, incredible. As I say, right and proper that they give him a guard of honour off the pitch. Been absolutely incredible.
So Pandev off, they're taking Tchaikovsky off as well, and they have brought on Hassani and Kostadinov. Ferhan Hassani, who plays club football in Albania, on for his 42nd appearance, and Tiamir Kostadinov, who is on the books of Ružomberok in Slovakia, came off the last half hour against Austria and gets just a little less than that today. 3-0 to the Dutch. 3-0 going on 5 or 6 after the excellent performance that they've given in the second half. North Macedonia had their chances in the first, hit the inside of the post. They had one disallowed rightly for a very, very close offside call, but they've wilted visibly as this second half has gone on. Alioski has the ball on the left-hand side. Just played forward towards the halfway line. Elmas chasing after it, but easy for De Ligt to mop up. De Ligt controlling it. I'm thinking about going forward, and in the end just worked it back instead. Started the game with a back five, which quickly became a back three. It is pretty much a back two now for the Dutch. They're just keeping Blind and De Ligt in there, and fullbacks are playing really high. And the Dutch enjoying themselves.
I wonder whether they'll give Blind the hook in a few minutes' time, just to rest these legs again. It certainly is a very comfortable afternoon for the Dutch now.
Yeah, they can only make one more change, the Netherlands. You would imagine will be the player that would make way maybe for Ake. Right now, another player that might come on to replace him is one of those that has been left out of the 25 today. He's not on the bench. North Macedonia have it, 20 minutes from time. The Dutch lead 3-0. Still, Ukraine 0, Austria 1. It's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. Plenty of jeopardy there. There was never any here at Amsterdam because of the results that both of these nations had in their first two games, but it's been an entertaining watch for a dead rubber. Alioski playing it forward too far ahead of Elmas, and he goes out of play for a throw that young Timber is going to take on the right-hand touchline for the Netherlands. Just to reiterate, coming up later tonight, Finland, Belgium here on TalkSport, Russia, Denmark on TalkSport 2. They both kick off at 8. And tomorrow, England back in action against the Czech Republic. Knowing that a positive result will definitely see them through. Victory will see the Three Lions win the group. It's a good defence, splitting ball out for the Macedonians, and it's a chance for the substitute, which he's put away. Cherninov, he's offside. Yet another one flagged off for them.
Yeah, as I say, he just broke the run too soon. By the looks of things, it looked that way. Great set-up play, I've got to say, really good set-up play. But it was the intelligent Blind who just held his line, held his run. And good finish once he went through as well.
Yeah, that not nearly as close as the one that was disallowed in the first half. Cherninov probably a yard and a half off. The Dutch will bring it forward. 3-0 up. Gravenberg inside the penalty area for Van Aanholt. Back towards the edge of the penalty area for Quincy Promise. A deft little flip from Berghuis. Shot from distance from Timber. And easily saved by the goalkeeper. I'll remind you that England's on tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. The build-up starts at 6 for England against the Czech Republic. And Scotland's final game in the group stage against Croatia is on TalkSport 2. Build-up starting at 7 for that one. Both games kick off at 8, and of course on both games we'll keep you up to date with what is happening in the other, as the fortunes of all four teams are still very subtly interwoven. The ball is on the right-hand side of the Dutch penalty area. De Jong can't quite take it into his stride this time. Macedonians clear it out as far as Alioski. He will play it forward for the run from Ademi in the midfield. Too much on his pass at Elmas, and it's out of play for a throw on the Dutch right-hand side. 17 to go, 3-0 to score, with Memphis Depay scoring the first, Gini Wijnaldum scoring the second and third in the space of 6.5 minutes just before the hour mark.
Yeah, the Dutch just pushing players forward now. I think they're looking to score a goal, and on the turnover and counter-attack there, it was sort of almost Blind with two North Macedonian strikers either side of him. So just a little bit loose at the back at the moment, trying a few tricks. Frenkie de Jong, a few olays in some of his passing.
They're a very good side to watch when they're in fine attacking form. Cherninov actually made no attempt to go for the ball. The flag came up. He was in an offside position had he gone to try and play it. The flag came up. Everybody just hesitated for a moment. Cherninov, realising that he was going to be flagged offside, just held his ground, and one of his teammates got to the ball first. They've recycled it from the right over to the left for Elmas. Now to Alioski. 3 to try and hit inside the penalty area. Alioski's gone down. Very optimistic attempt to win a penalty. The foul from the Dutch defender, and it was a case of Timber as he went down on the edge of the box after the challenge from the young Ajax man.
Yeah, he's had 3 chances now, Alioski, just to put crosses in the box. He's either doesn't trust his teammates or taken the wrong option.
Dutch have turned it over. Weghorst working it out to the left. Quincy Promes onto his left foot, in behind Weghorst. It breaks for Berghaus. Curling effort is cleared by the stretching defender Velkovsky. Goalkeeper behind him may have been able to save it anyway. Dutch will come again from a deeper position. In from Promes. Well claimed by Dimitrievski. 3-0.
Well, every time it comes near the goal before probably the 82nd minute, I worry, because I think the Dutch, if they get one more before the 82nd minute, the fifth will come, and my prediction's blown out the water, Jim.
Yeah, you could be looking good at the moment. I think if you've had a little prediction on how this might end up, 4-0 could be a good shout.
I think the offside trap of the Dutch as well has got to be maintained as well. They don't look as though they want to do some defending. They just want to hold that line and catch the Macedonians offside.
Well, the defensive performance that they gave against Ukraine in that first game, where they won 3-2, you'll remember they were 2-0 up in that, and then conceded a brace in double quick time. An excellent goal from Yarmolenko, getting Ukraine back off and running in that game. Got back to 2-2, and then it ended up being 3-2 after a late winner from Denzel Dumfries. But their defensive work much criticised in that game. Berghaus hitting a high ball inside the area here. Ristovski can volley it away, just help it one stop further down the line towards the far touchline, where it'll be controlled by Gravenberg. Gravenberg to Promes at Van Aanholt, who had to stretch to bring it under control. Gravenberg and Promes exchange another little 1-2. Van Aanholt still waiting for it on the corner of the penalty area, wants it into feet. Gravenberg has other ideas though. Timber's made his way forward. Played into his feet about 10 yards from goal by Quincy Promes. Now Frenkie de Jong. Good use of the ball again for Van Aanholt. Not so good for him as he tried to find a way through. And it's cleared easily down the right-hand side before Daley Blind will be able to knock it back forward again. 3-0 the Netherlands leading here on Talksport, and it's a yelp of pain from Ademi, who got caught by Frenkie de Jong. Genuine attempt from both players to win the ball. The Macedonian came off the worst and is down and might need a little bit of treatment here.
What are your thoughts? We've had we've covered the Dutch a couple of times now, probably seen all three of their games. What are your thoughts on perceptions of them going all the way in this tournament, Jim?
I don't think they will. I think they'll get to the semi-finals. You would imagine they're going to be strong enough on paper. We don't know the identity of the third place team that they will face, but they will go into that game, whoever it is, as overwhelming favourites. Then they get a group runner-up. That could well be Wales. Wales make it through their round of 16 tie. They get the Dutch in Baku. The Welsh will have enough going forward to cause the Dutch defence some significant problems if the Netherlands defend in the way that they have done in the second half of this game and as they did against Ukraine. But going forward, they've got a lot about them. That would be a very good quarter-finals. Can they win it? I don't think so. I don't see it. But what about you?
Same again. I don't think they're strong enough. They're certainly a quarter-final team, a semi-final on a good draw, but that's probably where I see them sealing out.
Well, the Dutch are going to make a final change, and it isn't going to be Ake coming on for Blind. Instead, it's going to be Frenkie de Jong who makes way, and he'll be replaced by Cody Gakpo. So just after the end of Goran Pandev's international career, young Dutchman starts his. Gakpo has scored 11 goals for his hometown club PSV this season. Could also played international football for Togo, but he comes on for the Dutch, and he gets 12 minutes to make an impression. And he's replaced Frenkie de Jong. Gakpo, by trade, is a left winger, so it'll be interesting to see how they just shuffle things around. But that is the final change being made by the Dutch with, as I say, just a little over 10-11 minutes to go. 3-0. And the Dutch in possession with Blind finding De Ligt. And De Ligt will just work it forward. Gakpo has actually started in the centre of midfield on the left-hand side of central midfield. Gravenberg is sitting as the deepest with Wijnaldum. Van Aanholt on the left, Timber on the right, and then a front three of Promes on the left, Berghaus on the right, and Weghorst through the middle. Timber lays it back here for the stumbling Matthijs de Ligt, who got back to his feet after a fashion, but was Forced eventually just to go up through the gears and flick it away off Hassani and out of play for a goal kick, which Martin Stecklenburg will take. 10 minutes to go here on Talksport. Netherlands leading North Macedonia by 3 goals to 0.
Yeah, De Ligt, he's normally been very, very safe with his passing. No risk defender on that occasion. Got caught in 2 minds, nearly give possession away.
Macedonians have made a double change as well, incidentally, with Adamian Bardi coming off from the midfield and Nikolov and Stoyanovski have come on. And here's the first player that they brought on, Cherlinov, over on the right-hand touchline. Cherlinov, one of 2 Macedonians to have the ball in the net, only to be disallowed by offside. Gets the ball in towards the near post, where it's attacked there by Stoyanovski. And he's won a corner. Good first contribution from the latest of the substitutes to arrive. Experiencing tournament football for the very first time, Vlatko Stoyanovski, who played in the French 2nd division on loan at Chambly this season, but failed to score. But he has got a couple of international goals to his name. And he's won this corner, which is the Macedonians' 2nd of the second half and their 4th of the game. Dutch defending zonally, with the exception of Blint, who goes man for man, and the header is wide. Velkovsky coming to meet it, and just didn't get the contact he needed. Free header, 9 yards out and 9 yards wide.
Yeah, as we were speaking of earlier, the Dutch just ceding one too many chances on their goal. You know, they're certainly a team that can score goals, but as we've seen in previous games, and including this one as well, for a game that is 3-0, could have comfortably been 5-0. North Macedonia have done enough to at least get 1 goal, haven't they, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No World Cup qualification campaign will take a little bit of watching. 6 points from the first 3 games, beaten 3-2 in Romania, then winning in Germany and thumping Liechtenstein. You just never know. The second place in that group might be attainable if they can beat Romania at home. Gravenberg able to play the ball for Weghorst. Good movement off the ball from Berghuis. Hakpo peeling out towards the right hand side to come back in. Alioski's able to knock it away and find Elmas. Just stuttering his way forward, looking to try and commit, and then flicking it out of play eventually for a throw. Going to be taken on the Dutch right. Still 1-0 Austria lead with 8 minutes to go, live over on Talksport 2. Ukraine piling on the pressure. They need an equaliser to finish second in the group. The Dutch, who won the group, coasting here.
Yeah, top quality pressing there by Wijnaldum, playing slightly deeper, just advanced now as I say that. I think he'll be looking for this 3rd goal, but really good pressing by him. Went and got nice and tight.
Macedonia win a free kick. They take it quickly and work it wide. Long ball from Kostadinov out to the Dutch left-hand touchline. Kritzcroms hasn't quite been able to win it back. Just be worked back through the midfield again to Kostadinov. Kostadinov in the centre of midfield goes down for Gianni Alioski. Alioski bringing it forward. Hassani back for Alioski again. North Macedonia is looking for a consolation goal. If they can, I must say that they've scored in every game in this tournament. That would be a creditable record. Play forward by Kostadinov. Elmas unleashing from the edge of the penalty area. Hit Daley Blind. Counter-attack could be on, but it's a clash of players and there will be a free kick. Talked about the ongoing story with the COVID situation, and the further details undoubtedly will unfold. But as things stand, the headline news, we don't know exactly what the state of play is regarding Ben Chilwell and Mason Mount for tomorrow's game between England and the Czech Republic, the build-up of which starts at 6 on Talksport ahead of an 8 o'clock kick-off. Billy Gilmore in isolation, definitely not in a position to play for Scotland in their match against Croatia, which is an 8 o'clock kick-off on Talksport 2 tomorrow. The Dutch bringing it forward, leading by 3 goals to 0, lost possession. Sani will take it down to the left-hand side. We'll have more on that breaking story over the course of the evening. We'll hear from our England correspondent Faye Carruthers on Talksport in the build-up to the Finland-Belgium game, which is coming up for you after this one with Danny Kelly in the chair. Alioski bringing the ball forward for the North Macedonians. 4 minutes left in this game, and a way off target shot comes in from the substitute Nikolov. Just on his weaker left foot, he got it all wrong off balance and puts it out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by England.
Well, I think in regard to the COVID testing and whatever, Jim, I think if nothing else, England have learned a lesson from this to make sure that your players steer clear of the opposition after the game. You know, it really is. If you've caught COVID in any way, shape or form, that's a bad enough pill to swallow for the players, let alone missing games, that type of thing, and the implications of that. But to actually being self-isolating because you've come in contact with somebody else is really, really frustrating.
Did I say it was a goal kick to England? Goal kick to the Netherlands. Just Mystic Meg looking forward 24 hours into the future ahead of the goal kicks tomorrow. The ball is played forward here by Quincy Promes, who's got the captain's armband on now. Wijnaldum has gone off, and the Dutch again so open at the back. It's 3 against 2 for the Macedonians. Opportunity for Cherninov, and he never attacked that penalty area with any conviction at all. The Dutch outnumbered, would have been picked off by a more prolific and less tiring side, but Cherninov just lacked any conviction. Now at the other end is brilliant play by Hakpo, and the goalkeeper's done well, got a leg to it, and he goes away. Stewart and Dutch supporters wanting a 4th goal. Didn't come from there, maybe should have done. The Dutch bring it forward towards the edge of the penalty area, back for Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum laying it back for Gravenberg. A right-footed effort comes from De Ligt, and that's a fine save. Dimitrievski diving to his right-hand side to tip De Ligt's effort round the post. He come close on a couple of occasions tonight.
Certainly have. We've not been starved of goal-scoring efforts, that is for sure, from both ends. And North Macedonia will count themselves really unlucky, the chances they've created to have not scored as yet. As for the Dutch, well, they could have had 6 or 7 in this game.
Corner to be taken on the left-hand side, swung inside the penalty area, and Dimitrievski punches it away. He's done okay. The Rayo Vallecano goalkeeper, he's played the majority of his career in the Spanish second division. He's given a decent account of himself tonight, notwithstanding the fact that he's let 3 in. Still Ukraine 0, Austria 1 in the other game in this group. So still Austria hanging on. And they would finish second. Their reward will be a game against Italy. Ukraine would finish third with a record that may well not be enough to go through as one of the best third-place teams. Blitz got possession, takes it all the way out of the touchline, chips it back in towards the edge of the D. Well, De Ligt has been able to control it. He will work it forward through the midfield towards Gravenberg. Macedonians turning the ball over just temporarily, but then Berghuis wins it back, and it's 4 against 2 as they bring it forward here. Great opportunity. It's chipped inside the penalty area. Now Weghorst is tall, but he's not that tall. Needed to be 16'6" rather than 6'6" to get on the end of that cross that came in. Frustrating smile on the face of Quincy Promes, but they have had chances to make this 6 or 7, let alone 4.
It has been so open, both teams. I mean, there's a turnover of possession from one end to the other, and all of a sudden you look and teams are just wide open.
Now as they play it forward, Promes tries to flick it on in towards Weghorst and can't do any more than steer it back for the goalkeeper, who shows great distribution to get the ball upfield very quickly for Elmas. Elmas dropping his shoulder, getting inside the penalty area, can't work it into a shooting position, but is able to play it off Timber and out of play for a corner as we go into 4 additional minutes. 3-0.
Jim, we've got a testimonial match on our hands. I think it's just going from end to end at the moment. Defence is non-existent. Recovery defences are arriving, but apart from that, nothing else.
Corner work short by Elmas for Alioski. The left-hand side of the penalty area, tries to get to the byline. Challenge comes in on him. And a free kick is given against Timber as Alioski goes down. Only a yard to the left-hand side of the box. So a chance for North Macedonia potentially to get a consolation goal. Dutch have got everybody back inside the penalty area. Nikolov stands over it, but Hassani's looking the favourite. The bearded midfielder spotted the ball down. Just purses his lips as he walks back 3 or 4 yards. Promise and Berghaus are in a 2-man wall protecting the near post area. Stekelenburg's just asked that shuffles across. 6 black shirts back inside the 6-yard box. Sassani whipping it in towards the near post, hoping for a little flick. One wasn't forthcoming and the Dutch can hammer it away. Clearance doesn't quite reach the halfway line, but Ristovski will help it back over the top for the North Macedonians. The Ligt just shuffles across to his left and chests it down. And now the Dutch will be able to bring it away again. Hakpo play wide out to the left-hand touchline. The Dutch will slow it right down and go with Gini Wijnaldum. A couple of goals for him in a 7-minute spell tonight, but no real opportunities for him to complete what would have been his second international hat-trick on the back of that. Still the Netherlands bring it forward. Goes out towards Berghaus, right-hand side of the penalty area. Berghaus onto his left foot. Back from Hakpo. Berghaus again. Chipped inside the penalty area and Ristovski heads it away. Good defensive header too, because Sassani can pick it up in space. He will work it out towards the right. Still the North Macedonians craving this consolation goal, but they needed a much better delivery inside the penalty area. No chance for Stoyanovski of getting on the end of that one. And all of a sudden it's the Dutch who have the opportunity to bring it forward. Proverbial basketball match unfolding before our eyes. Promise to Wijnaldum. Back for Quincy Promise again. Just over a minute of stoppage time remaining. Just 30 seconds left in that Ukraine-Austria game where Baumgartner's first half goal looks to be enough for Austria. Blint all the way back to his goalkeeper. Now Stekelenburg takes a touch and then took a second, which was too good for Stoyanovski, who ended up on his backside, much to the amusement of those in the Johan Cruyff Arena. De Ligt playing out from the back. Blint will take it towards halfway. He will play it forward. And the offside flag is up, and the last free kick of the game goes North Macedonia's way. 3-0, Stu.
Yeah, it's been, well, a comfortable 3-0 for the Dutch, but probably the correct result in the game, I would have thought, would be something of the nature of 6-2, to be quite honest with you. But this one, both teams look as though they're just seeing the game out now.
It's victory for Austria, and they have finished second in the group. They'll play Italy in the round of 16. Ukraine, with 3 points from their 3 games, may well be heading out. We're in the last knockings in Amsterdam as the Dutch bring it forward with Gravenberch. And the last touch of the game is fired deep and long, and the Dutch end the group with a 100% record, able to emulate Italy's record in Group A. The Dutch with a perfect record in Group C. And they will wait and find out who their opponents will be. It's a group that has seen plenty of attacking endeavour from them, the odd defensive deficiency, which prospective opponents may feel that they can exploit. The North Macedonians were very game, will have enjoyed the experience of their first international tournament. The send-off for Gore and Pandev was a very emotional one, but ultimately no joy for them tonight, and they've been beaten by the Dutch by 3 goals to 0.